Okay, good morning everyone. Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I think it's time for me to start this webinar because it's already 10 a.m. right now. My name is Lisa Apriani. I'm Esa Unggul University student from Computer Science Faculty and member of Esa Unggul E-ProClub University. It's a pleasure for me to be the host of this great webinar. First of all, thank you, Mrs. Danielle Bernecker, for your willingness to stay waking up in late night and explaining the topic for us. Also, thank you, Efto and Mrs. Henny, for holding this webinar. The topic of this webinar is Optimizing Your English, the Importance of Practice for Proficiency with Danielle Bernecker. Now, to start this webinar, we will play Indonesian National Anthem first. After National Anthem, we will play Esa Unggul University Mars. Please open your camera to honor our National Anthem.
Universitas Esa Unggul putra putri bangsa, siap berbakti untuk Indonesia. Tegakkan cita-cita, wujudkan mimpi bersama. Bukti bakti mengabdi untuk negara. Universitas Esa Unggul putra putri bangsa, berkarya dengan penuh sukacita. Dengan bangga memakai jubah alma mater kita, lupakan sikap untuk jadi pedoman. Terangkan langkah-langkah ke depan, kuatkan hati capai masa gemilang. Bersama Esa Unggul majukan Nusantara, dengan tekad kuat kita jaya. Esa Unggul putra putri bangsa, siap berbakti untuk Indonesia. Tegakkan cita-cita, wujudkan mimpi bersama. Bukti bakti mengabdi untuk negara.
Okay, thank you. We must be grateful for God's grace that given to us because we all can attend this webinar and learn together. Let's we pray together to show our gratefulness to the Almighty God. The prayer will be led by Deltania.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us bow our head for a moment. Pray to God Allah Subhanahu wa Taala so that our webinar can be precious to all of us. I will lead this prayer based on teaching of Islam. And those who are not Muslim, you are pressed to pray according to each of your beliefs. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Hamdan yuafi ni'mahu wa yukafi mazida. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali karimi wa azimi sultanik. Allahumma inna nas'aluka salamatan fid din wa afiyatan fil jasad wa jidatan fil ilmi wa barakatan fil rizki wa taubatan qabla maut wa rahmatan indal maut wa maghfiratan ba'dal maut. Allahumma awin alna fi syakaratul maut wa najata minan nar wa qinal isyab. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmatan innaka antal wahhab. Allahumma fir lana wa li walidana walil muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat al ayahi minkum wal amwat innaka sami'un qaribun wajibud da'awat. Ya qarijal hajat Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, thank you, Deltania. This webinar would never be exist without the effort from our great chairman. He is the frontman in every E-ProClub activities and member recruitment. He has been working so hard since the first day this club was created until today. Now, let's pay attention to the chairman opening speech. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome the chairman of Esa Unggul E-ProClub, Rubika Eftel.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for such wonderful introduction. And also, thank you, Mrs. Danielle, our English teacher, English guru, for your willingness to still wake up in almost middle of the night. Thank you. In Indonesia, we use the term begadang for that. Okay, honestly, this is under my expectation. We must have more than 100 students here, but yeah, it's okay. I still appreciate your willingness to join with us. Thank you very much. First of all, let me reintroduce myself briefly. My name is Rubika Himawan Eftel, the leader of this community. You can call me Eftel. And I am from the Faculty of Teaching and Education, majoring in English Education Program. I and Miss Henny are running this club for almost a year. We conducted so many weekly activities and monthly competitions, and our host, Lisa, is one of the product of our competitions. She's the winner of essay writing and public speaking contest last year. So, do you want to learn English in a fun way? And do you want to beat Lisa in future competition? You come to the right place. You come to the right place. By the way, this community is touched by Mrs. Danielle Bernecker, which is the speaker in this webinar. You might say, Efto, I cannot speak English. Seems like I cannot join to this club. No, this club is the home of learners. I also cannot speak English very well. I make a lot of grammar mistakes when I use English, but it's totally fine. We can learn together. That is the main purpose of this club. So don't be shy and defeat your anxiety. I know you can. Anyway, this webinar is the first activity in this semester. Then we used to hold a weekly meeting on Friday at 8 p.m. And I really hope that today's webinar and our further activity will bring a good impact for our knowledge. Okay, I think it is enough for me. I don't have many words to say. And please enjoy the webinar. We're back to our moderator, Lisa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Efto, for the opening speech. What a great speech from our chairman. So don't forget to join our club and we can learn together at that meeting. Now let's move to our great speaker here. The speaker of today's webinar is Mrs. Danielle Bernecker. She is an American and currently lives in the United States of America. Maybe some of you already know who is Mrs. Danielle is, but I think it's important for me to introduce herself to all of you guys about her background, education, etc. I will read Mrs. Daniele's curriculum vitae for you guys. Here we go. Mr. Daniele studied at West Coast Baptist College, taking Bachelor of Science degree in Secondary Education, and Edison Community College, taking Associates of Science. And Mrs. Daniele work experience are a middle school math teacher at Cumberland Christian School, science teachers at Temple Christian Academy Louisville, and tutor at Community College Pickler. Okay, that's the curriculum vitae from Mrs. Danielle Bernecker. We move to the main section of this webinar. Mrs. Danielle will present to the topic to all of you guys. Please pay attention to her and you may take notes while listening to the presentations. After this section, there will be a Q&A. So all of you guys can ask anything to her. Okay, with further ado, time is your Mrs. Danielle.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Lisa. I want to thank you everyone for coming this morning, starting off your Tuesday morning with English Club here. And I hope to see many of you in our clubs on Friday. I think that'd be really great. And like Efto said, it's okay if you're uncomfortable when you come to club because everybody's starting at a different level. And the whole point is to get better. And even sometimes I make mistakes with English because it's that much of a language to learn. So don't feel bad. And just it's the best way to get proficiency is just by practice and participation. And I'll talk about that here very soon. So please come. And hopefully if we get a big group, and we will do breakout rooms during clubs, so you don't have to talk to like 80 people. You can talk to a smaller group. So rest assured, you know, if you're feeling nervous about coming, I don't like to put people on the spot because I know it can be uncomfortable when you're still getting your confidence up. So I did make a PowerPoint today. Yes. Oh, and I lost it. All right. So, as Lisa said, my name is Danielle Bernecker. A little bit about me. I have been married for almost 6 years, actually almost 7 years now. Whoops. And some of you were here last year. You met my husband, Michael. He might make another guest appearance or two. If you need someone to talk about sports or history. So I've been speaking English for almost 30 years. Yay, probably over 30 years, but we won't go into my exact age. And I taught junior high and high school math and science. That's about ages 12 through 18. And that was biology, earth science, algebra, a bunch of stuff in there. It was pretty fun. But I did enjoy tutoring at the community college because we had kids in high school through 50-year-old adults. And I think that was the most fun, just the variety there. My hobbies change a lot, but usually I like to read, especially suspense or mystery novels. I love those. I like to knit and craft. Currently started back into weight training because I need to lose some weight, and that's the part of exercise I like is lifting heavy things. Not like powerlifting because those people scare me. Also like to play video games and gardening. Right now I have a lot of daffodils popping up, my spring flowers, but I'm hoping in the summer to have a vegetable garden going. Takes a little bit more planning. All right. And of course, everybody's favorite part are my cats. So they are actually really well behaved and never walk in front of my computer, which makes me sad. But I have 3 cats. We have the one with the mustache is actually a girl. And her name is Miss Charlie. Her previous owners named her after Charlie Chapman, who was a famous silent movie star, and he had a big fat mustache like that. So that's how they gave her name. And then the gray cat in the corner is Nittany, and she's our newest cat. And I let my husband name her because he said, no, we're not bringing home another cat. So he named her, and that's how we got to keep her. And the last cat in the bottom is our boy, Scotty, our only boy, and he is the same litter as Miss Charlie, as you can probably tell. And then the non-cat is our turtle, Thea. So those are our pets. Since I know almost everybody loves cats. So I will always share pictures of them if you ask. All right. So getting into the meat and potatoes. Sometimes we say the meat and the potatoes, or getting into what we actually came to talk about today. And that is the proficiency, to get proficiency in English. May slow down a little. Sometimes I start talking fast. But we have a saying, we'll say sometimes that you need to learn how to crawl before you can run. And if you think about, a baby generally starts to crawl before they walk or run. Not always. Some babies skip crawling, but as a general rule, you need to start with crawling. And if you think about any skill you've ever learned, like whether it's riding a bike or maybe your famous recipe that you're really good at making, if you think about any of those. Okay. Still a lot of noise here. You started at the beginning. For me, I was used for my illustration just when I learned how to write my name. And so I started out, in kindergarten, so I was 5 years old, and they taught us our letters. And it was a lot of effort to learn how to write the letters the right way, and to make sure your capital D is a straight line and the round curve and whatever shortcuts they taught us. Then moving on to first grade, you're pretty proficient. You know how to write the letters, the sounds, and I still got my lowercase d's and b's backwards because they're the same. I mean, they're different, but in my young brain, they were the same. And they wanted us to write our name on every single paper they gave us, every single day. And for the first week or two, I was actually copying my name off of the name tag the teacher put on my desk. And now, of course, I can write my name without even thinking, right? I don't worry about if I dotted my I or if I got the right D or did I only put one hemp on my N. I don't have to think about it. But if you think about, if I went back to first grade and if my teacher didn't make me write my name on every single paper, but I only had to write my name a few times a week, how much longer would it have taken me to get good at writing my name, to get to the point where I don't have to think about it? And that's just like with any skill. The more you practice, the more you put yourself into opportunities to practice that skill, the more proficient you will become. So I want to encourage you to take that approach with any goal you have, just to pursue those opportunities that arise so that you can become more proficient and get the success that you want in life. So a few things to keep in mind when you're learning new things, or even actually in your current studies, is that there's 4 main learning styles. And we are all usually a combination of like 2. I tend to be an auditory learner. Actually, I tend to be a kinesthetic learner and then auditory. And but everybody learns different ways. And so if you're studying ways, if they're like, oh, you should really, study this way, but they're not the same learning style as you, it might make it harder for you in the long run. So think about the way you learn and use that to help make your study methods more effective. So if you're a visual learner, you tend to color code your notes so they make sense. You'll draw illustrations or make maps to make sense of the information you have. You enjoy watching documentaries and learn a lot from them. Auditory learners will maybe record a lecture and replay it later, tend to ask questions, like to join study groups. They'll use mnemonic devices. Mnemonic devices like we use, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And that's for order of operations in math. We do parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And to help people remember that, we say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So if my slide changes over, sorry guys, go back. There we go. So keep in mind, all right, if you're gonna be visual or auditory, and sometimes there's some crossover too. Like I feel like if I can listen to a documentary, I'm gonna learn just as much. Then reading, writing, okay, you take notes, or if you get like a worksheet in class, you're gonna summarize that into your notes. You'll write out questions and answers. You need to, and that's somewhat tactile too. You just like to have that extra activity, and it helps solidify that. People say you remember more if you write it down. Yes, maybe not for everyone, but in general, yes. So take the time. When you learn new vocabulary words, write those down, write the definition down, put them in a flashcard, review them a couple times. And then lastly, we have the kinesthetic or tactile learner. And basically, these are ones you might think of like an ADHD type student. They don't sit still. Or they might, instead of sitting at a desk to study, you're going to lay down, spread out, and be comfortable to study. Or you could read the textbook while on the treadmill, and it actually helps your brain remember it better. Might use props to problem solve, or find real life examples of the concept being studied to help you understand them. And so when you think about the type of learning methods we have, just try to keep in mind what you think you are and make your study habits based off of those to get the most out of your study time. There's nothing like spending all this time rewriting your notes in color, drawing out maps when all you needed to do was just listen to the lecture another time. So pick the study path, the study habits that are going to suit you the most. And hopefully by now you have them figured out, but they don't always, I don't know, for us in school, we didn't talk about these. They wanted us to learn everything, all the study methods, which is a lot of work if they're not going to help you. So study in ways that will help you. All right. You don't have to pick every method, but you do need to pick methods that work for you. Okay. Another thing when you are studying, set SMART goals. And SMART here is a mnemonic device. And it means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So it's natural for someone to say, I want to be more fluent in English. Well, what does more fluent mean? What they could say instead is, within 6 months, I want to be able to make small talk without having to look up words. Or I could say, I want to read in English. But a SMART goal would be, in 3 months, I want to be able to read English news articles without the dictionary. And so you've taken your goal and you've made it specific. You've made it measurable because you're making small talk without looking up words or without looking up every word maybe. It's attainable because it's just small talk. It's not reading, Shakespeare's play or anything like that. It's just small talk. So, and it's relevant, okay, because people do make small talk as uncomfortable as it can be. And it's time bound. You've given yourself that 6 months or whatever. And if 6 months comes and you don't make that goal, then maybe push it back a little. But the point is instead of having a broad goal, you have a refined focus. This is what I want. Or maybe, in 9 months, I want to pass the TOEFL English test. Okay. So you'll have to, find out what your goals are, write them down. And maybe you start with, I want to be more fluent in English, but then break that down into something that is specific. Okay. So specifically, I want to be able to make small talk, or I want to pass that test, or I want to be comfortable speaking on Zoom meetings, right? And make sure it's measurable. Okay. So I didn't have to look up as many words. I know more vocabulary now. Measure your progress. Make it attainable. Obviously, you're not going to be, I want to speak flawlessly for the rest of my life. That's not quite attainable. I spit out my words sometimes. I know plenty of people that are born here that speak really bad English. So then relevant, right? So like reading Shakespeare might not be relevant for you. Honestly, I don't think I would read Shakespeare either. We had to in high school. The English is kind of outdated for that, and it's time bound, so you can track your progress. And so when you make your goals for English or your study classes, make them smart, okay? So that you can measure your progress instead of saying, oh man, like I had to look up words again, or oh, I had bad English. Instead, you can say, you know what? Like I only had to look up 2 words, or I was able to talk about the weather for like 5 minutes, or I understood this article that I read in English. And that way you can look back and see your progress instead of seeing your failures and proceed forward. All right. So people always ask, how can I get better at English? How can I become more fluent in English? And all I can say is practice, practice, practice. There was a study done by the University of Michigan in 2016. They took 2 groups of Japanese students that were learning English, and one group used the traditional method, which with vocabulary and like word exercises and just the traditional method of learning. And the other group had the vocabulary and the word exercises, but they also had a native speaker to practice with. And at the end of the course time, both groups had done well, but one group had a lot more fluency. And if you guessed it was the second group with the native speaker, you are correct. And so one of the ways to do that, well, sorry, my brain is kind of buffering. One of the ways to just increase your practice is to listen to native speakers and to speak with native speakers. It's been more effective. I know I will play around with a language learning app we have here called Duolingo, which I'm pretty sure. And sometimes I mess around with Indonesian. It's very slow because some of the words are very, very big. And I'm like, oh my goodness, all this just to say hello. But then I also do Spanish a little because I have some cousins that are Mexican. And I know it's really tempting for me to go in and just hit like 1 or 2 words and not say them out loud. And like, okay, I kept my streak, because they keep a record of how many days. And right now I've been in the app for 102 days without missing a day. And then they keep record of that. And so it's kind of a challenge for me to keep my streak. But I'm not practicing the words out loud. I'm not practicing with a native Spanish speaker. And of course, my progress is very slow. If I were to take the time and speak with someone, I would be introduced to new words that I wouldn't think to learn. I would have the hands-on experience where I would hear them say something and be like, oh, that's how that's pronounced. Just different things like that you don't get from an app, you don't get from a textbook. So I would encourage you, if you know someone, if you are able to come to club. Practice. If you know a native speaker and you're able to message with them or talk with them, definitely, try to do that, maybe just a couple times a week, even just something, just to practice. Okay. And then another option, and I know last year at the inaugural meeting, we had our guest speaker talked about how everywhere she would go, she would get pamphlets. And so she's like, some people consider these trash, but I just collect them from everywhere I go. And that was one of the ways she learned English, was from reading these short travel brochures. So I would encourage you, another good way to enhance your English is just to read. And you can find like just a short article, a short news article on the internet. It doesn't have to be a book. Okay, but you can find like a magazine article or a newspaper article about a topic you think is interesting. Give that a read. And you might learn some new vocabulary words. And so I would encourage you to do that as well. It doesn't have to be long. Sometimes we think we have to be able to read a book. No, you can start small, or maybe you could read a children's book. But don't stress yourself out, but practice where you can, and practice, as you increase your skills, then you can go on to larger things. But reading is a good way to learn new vocabulary. It's still not going to be as good as speaking, simply because plenty of people can read and write in a foreign language, but when you meet someone or you're in a meeting, you're not going to have a piece of paper to write down and then like read to them, or the time sometimes to break down things. And so the more you're able to speak, the more you practice speaking, the better. Another one, I would encourage you to find a friend. So if you can't come to English Pro Club, or even if you do, if you have a friend who is comfortable in English or also trying to get proficient, maybe set aside some time where, on your lunch breaks, you text each other in English, or you only talk to each other in English, or maybe in just like, half an hour a day or half an hour a week, just spend that time or set aside where you only speak in English. It might not be a very big conversation, but it could be a starting point to learn your vocabulary, or you could practice reading articles together, because it will help. And it will also give you accountability. When you say, okay, on Wednesday afternoons, we're going to, for this half hour, only talk and text in English, then you have someone meeting you at Wednesday to force you to practice to only talk and text for that half hour in English. And that accountability is very important, because it puts a time constraint on you and it gives you that accountability. But sometimes when we're doing stuff that's not graded, we don't always do our best and we don't always make it happen, because it's not graded. I don't really need to do this. But if you have a friend who is counting on you, you might get it done. Another thing, I encourage you, flashcards. This goes back to if you're a writing learner and also an auditory, visual learner, right? You write down your new vocabulary word and then you review it a few times. You could also get an app to do the flashcards. I prefer the handwritten. That's just me, a little old school. But if you do good with an app, you can do that. There is an app I've been using, which I might put some of these in the WhatsApp group chat. I don't know if they're available in Indonesia. I secretly hope they are. But the one app I use is called Drops, and you can pick your level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and it'll give you new words, and then you can swipe if you know it or swipe if you don't, and it'll make flashcards for you, and it only lets you practice for 2 minutes, and then you're done for the day. But it's a great way to introduce new vocabulary. And so we had a girl last year. She very, very good English. Some of you might remember Sunny. And I finally asked her, I was like, wow, how is your English so good? Like, she even had like an American accent. I was like, are you sure you didn't like move to Indonesia from America or something? Turns out she was playing video games and a lot of them were in English. And so she would look up words as she didn't know And that's how she developed her English. And so that's another thing, if you're playing the video games, reading books, talking to a native speaker, you learn a new word, go ahead, write it down, and add it to your flashcards, and try to incorporate that into your conversation with your friend or something, and see how it goes. Excuse me. And then last one, it's probably the easiest one, maybe, and that would be just like from pulp culture. So you watch a popular TV show. A lot of people watch Friends. I never got into Friends, but that's a popular one. CSI is popular. Law and Order. Some of those are kind of rough though, because they're all just crime. I like Psych. If you can find Psych, it's kind of funny. But there's a lot of TVs or movies that you can watch, and you can even put on the English subtitles or put it English with Indonesian subtitles. I've done that before in trying to learn language. Just something to kind of get you used to hearing it and see what words you can pick up, and see how much you can pick up of what's going on in the show with what you hear. You can also listen to music. I know a lot of you like the country western or like the 90s music, I think it is. So that's good. And some of the country western songs can be slower too, which is helpful as you try to learn new songs. And of course the choruses repeat. So that's one way. Although you could also end up with some songs stuck in your head. So be careful what you choose to listen to, but definitely give that a try. And another one that we don't always think about is following English-speaking people on social media. So if there's a celebrity you like, or an athlete, or just someone who supports a cause, you can follow them and then try to read their posts before you hit translate, right? And see. That's a good way to kind of just add extra English into your day. You can also, follow podcasts or, people on YouTube, just any way you can kind of sneak it in. And as always, if you come across a new word in your reading, you can always, Google how is this word pronounced in English, and you can generally find an accurate pronunciation or a pretty close one. And so we have all the technology we need. It's just organizing it in a way that works best for us and stuff like that. So that is it for me. So just like a reminder, let me go back. Oh, 93 people. Oh, here we go. So as a reminder, yeah, sorry, my brain is, oh yeah, a little buffering. I told Ibuhini when we started, when I agreed to this, I was like, oh yeah, 10 p.m. That'll be great. No, there was a time we lost an hour this weekend. So it's like 11 and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I had to get up really early because I've been helping this lady. She's 93 and she needs a little help in the morning. So I was up really early at her house and I'm up late. And I'm like, okay, it's all good though. We'll get this. So just to recap, try to understand your best way for learning. That's important. That's important no matter what class you're in, okay? Are you visual? Are you an auditory? Do you like reading, writing, kinesthetic, or tactile? If you can read a book on the treadmill, more power to you, right? So understand that, and that's going to help you in all your classes. And then you can take that and apply that to your English studies. And regardless of which form modality you have, speaking is still your best way. Okay. And I know it's uncomfortable. My Spanish teacher was like, Danielle, or class, does everybody see what Danielle got wrong? I guaranteed I stopped speaking. I promise I won't be like that. You got to watch out for FTO, but I'm joking. He's not like that either. But we try to make, a fun environment. Last year we had some trial and error, but I think we found the right formula for meeting. So try to make a fun environment. Like I said, if we end up with 90 people, we can break out in breakout groups. So you're not talking in front of 90 people, maybe talking in front of 10 or something, a lot easier. But the only way you're going to get better is just to practice. And I encourage you to practice the speaking is the most important. And being able to interact with a native speaker is going to push you up just that more. But any English you can get in, though, is going to help. It's going to expose you to new vocabulary, which is also going to help because that can be the hard part too. Okay, so make sure that you're making SMART goals and come to E-ProClub and do the competitions. You guys, literally, if you do the competitions and you fail, nobody's going to know, right? Nobody's going to, like, it doesn't matter how bad you are. But if you don't do them, you automatically do not get a chance to win money. So do the competitions, all right? Yes, please. Okay, I'm sorry. I probably feel like I rambled a little bit. I tried to make as much sense as possible. But I am done with my portion. I believe we have time for questions and answers. Okay, so if anybody has questions, you may ask them now.
Yeah, guys, if you have a question, you can ask anything to Mrs. Danielle about the related topic given today.
Oh,
Any question, guys, from you?
Is there any questions that you guys want to ask? Maybe there's something that you need to know more, you want to know more about English. You can just turn on your microphones and you can ask orally by yourself, or you can just type in the chat room. Is there any questions?
Oh dear. No questions.
Okay, because there is no questions, I have one questions that this is like when I want to speak English, like I always think about my grammar, that is it right or is it wrong? So you can Mrs. Danielle give me tips and trick about that?
Oh goodness. Yeah, so the best thing for, I think, proper grammar. Oh, okay. With proper grammar, the best part, I would even say, for, like, if I were telling even a native speaker, you know, to, when you're at home with your family, speak the proper grammar. Because we have a lot of slang. We have a lot of, like, even country folk out here, they're like, yeah, I went down to the creek and I washed. Like, they put an R in wash. So, you know, with your family, try to practice proper grammar. So when you're speaking with your friends, do the grammar that you know, and listen to people with good grammar. So talking about, like, the music, you know, if listen to the songs that are going to have good grammar, listen to the shows where they speak good grammar. Or if, you know, if you're going to watch something where it has slang, just be aware that that's not right and maybe correct it in your head. And when you're writing, right, I didn't have this problem because we didn't do a lot of texting in school, but the kids behind me, they text all the time. And so now when they write papers, they're like, oh yeah, they'll talk about, you know, and people need to study English, and they're like +, PPL, and EED. And I'm like, no, you spell people out, you know, and they think that's okay to write because that's how they text all the time. So when you write out your English notes, if you're taking English notes and you write out your vocabulary words, write it out the proper way. And English grammar is a thorn in my flesh. Okay. So like, the best thing I can say is surround yourself which I know can be hard, but surround yourself with people that speak good English. And if you have trouble finding, if you have a question, throw it in the WhatsApp group. I will be happy to answer you or send you a link to a website that answers it better than me. Yes. Ooh. Yo, Efto, somebody wants to know how to join this club.
Yeah, if you want to join this club, it is very easy. You can text me on WhatsApp. Here's my number: 0h1332497843. Just text me, and I will give you a Google formula to register this
Yay.
club. Okay.
But I guess I should finish Lisa's question because I was thinking more.
Yeah.
If your grammar is like off, generally speaking, the average person is not going to be upset. I mean, I can understand it, like if you're in an important board meeting, then yes. But if you're just talking to people and making small talk, I feel like we don't do proper English all the time, so they should be understanding of that. And they might just, correct you. I used to use a word in Spanish, a little and small. And I would use a small when I wanted to say a little. And they just said, actually, it's this one, and then I moved on. And so if you can find people like that, too. So just the only way, but that's another thing, is with talking to the non-natives or talking to the native speaker, then we can make the small corrections as well. So I can call you out, be like, hey, class, do you see what Lisa? No, I won't do that. I won't do that. But yeah, that's the only way sometimes, is just to put it out there.
Miss Danielle, can you speak English using Southern American accent, like, hey, y'all? Because when I hear that accent, I feel like this is weird. This is not English, but can you speak like that?
Well, now you put me on the spot. See, because there's Southern, and then there's like Louisiana Southern, and then there's like Texas Southern. Oh gosh. Hey y'all, want some of that sweet tea? Right? I think that might be Georgia, but don't quote me. I'm from the North, been there my whole life.
Okay.
Okay, here's the best you get. All right, let's see. I want to ask something. As we know that language is about habits, and as English is not my mother tongue, sometimes it's hard to use it as habits because sometimes you're not conditioned to join some club or class. So I would say that's where I kind of come back. If you have a friend who also wants to be proficient in English, if you don't feel comfortable joining club, I think you'd be really happy in club. Not everyone is, we don't force people to participate. We would like people to participate. And maybe you come to a few meetings and see like, oh, it's not bad. And you can start to participate. But if you're not able to make it to club, or you don't feel comfortable in club, try to find a friend that you can, practice with, even just learning new vocabulary, quizzing flashcards. Or there are some apps which I hope are available in Indonesia. I couldn't find on the App Store if they are, and I can drop them in the WhatsApp. I hope everybody's in there with links, because I like Duolingo. It's just for practicing. They go through grammar. They don't teach, like they teach grammar without teaching grammar, but they go through the vocabulary and like sentences and stuff like that. And then there's drops, which is just flashcards. And then there was one I was playing with today, which makes you listen to music and you have to guess the word. So, you can, if you can't find a friend for accountability, there are apps out there, and just, even if you just give yourself, 5-10 minutes a day where you practice speaking in English, give yourself the vocabulary, the flashcards, talk to yourself in the mirror Okay. If you feel comfortable talking to yourself alone, people don't think you're crazy. That's what I would do. But the best thing, come to club, right? Please. How to learn grammar fast. Yes, you understand me, but can't speak. Oh, wow, a lot going on. How to learn grammar fast. English class, right? So grammar is kind of hard because there's all these rules, everything's changing. I would practice a lot of times, like what I did last year when we did the essays, and I read a lot of the essays for the competition. I found some common mistakes, and I tried to address those with the group. And so we did some grammar lessons that way. So the best thing you can get, trying to think, there are websites for learning grammar that I use all the time to look up so I don't teach you guys the wrong thing. And I can try to find some of those that I have liked and link them if you're in the WhatsApp. Just looking at this book, it's mostly writing. Because that is one of the best things. And there are some worksheets you can practice. Okay. I have to give spirit, especially for myself, with a purpose to learning to speak up English. Thank you. So I have to give spirit. Does that mean you need motivation? Yes, yes. So I would encourage you anytime. We talked about setting goals. Okay. Well, before you set a goal, you should really know, why do I want to do this? Right? And so think about why you want to learn English. Is this something you're going to need in your professional career? Is this something you started and you want to finish? Do you just want to pass the test to graduate university? Right? So think about your why and write that down on the top of your notebook. This is why. This is why I want to learn. This is why I need to know. I would definitely encourage you there. My brain is buffering again. So, and even so, like if you think about it, English is a large population in the world speaks English. And so if you learn English, you have that advantage. Now, granted, there are more people in other countries that do not speak English, but then you'd have to learn all those languages. So pick out your reason why, why you want to learn English. We have, all the Marvel movies. So if you like superheroes, you need to learn English so you can watch the Marvel movies, right? But no, pick your reason and just put that in front of you. Write that on your notebook and don't get overwhelmed. Like I said, we have people that have been born and raised here. They're 70 years old and they're still using bad grammar. Okay. That's just how it is. So don't get overwhelmed, but give it your best and get there. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. So persistent grammar. Spirit. I want to ask about the TOEFL test. Is it possible listening section they are talking with British accent? Sometimes I don't understand. That is very possible. I have to play around with a sample listening test to see. Because I feel like, one of the websites was like, here's British English and Australian English. And I'm like, what about American English, right? So that is very possible. And so in that case, you could watch some British television shows as well. Most of their grammar is the same. Some of their words are different. Like they have a lift instead of an elevator, a boot instead of a trunk. But for the most part, most of the words are the same. Tip, tip, cheerio. Top of the morning, right? Yay. All right. Yes. Okay, you can talk to Ibu Hini and learn grammar. Yes. I do not know how you're learning grammar that way, Lisa. Yes. Close to the rules and use them. Practice, 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 because you'll never get your mistakes corrected if you never make a mistake, and then you won't know what you're doing. And that's right. Like, I am not fluent in Spanish because I got shy when my professor was like, look what Danielle did wrong. And I just stopped talking. Go to a Mexican restaurant and I'm like, I could order pollo con arroz. But instead I'm like, I'll have the rice with chicken, please. No, I don't speak Spanish. That's on me, right? You guys are gonna have to explain that to me one time in the near future. That's the one thing I like about club. We take time just talking and you get a chance to talk and hopefully practice. But then I learned like weird Indonesian stuff. Like when we did the Halloween lesson, everyone was like, look up these creepy ghosts. And I'm like, oh, and let me tell you, y'all have some creepy ghosts. If you were there, Yeah. So, all right. Any other questions?
Miss, there is one more question from Feby Ermina. She asking via live chat on YouTube. Miss, could you give me some tips to get a great book to improve my English skill? What kind of imported book that you will choose? Since I love reading book very much, but I heard you also love mystery book. Could you recommend me that? Could you recommend me the book's title? Thank you.
Oh,
Feby Ermina.
So Phoebe, she wants to read a mystery book. So I started with Nancy Drew. She's a little juvenile though, and kind of outdated because some of her books take place in like the 70s. I could also recommend if you can get a hold of anything by Sherlock Holmes. I like him. He can be a little dated because he was written a long time ago, and so some of the words, like, they still take carriage rides. And like his raincoat was like a Macintosh, which I never heard. But for the most part, the English is there. And the stories, they were originally designed to be short stories for a magazine. So you can read him, Sherlock Holmes, anything by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. And I'm trying to think what else. Sometimes I read Harlan Coben, but he can be a little graphic. Like, not too graphic, but sometimes the language or his character's a little rough. And so he's not necessarily my favorite, but that's why I have a hard time with mystery. I'm trying to think. If you give me a couple days, I'll have better answers. But I would start with Sherlock Holmes because that's me. But they said, and you might need a dictionary for some of the words, but I know you can do it. All right. And then I want to ask how to learn grammar patterns so they are easy to understand. Oh, patterns. I use a grammar handbook a lot. Like, I had one from high school. I still reference, and then I'll use that sometimes to look up topics as well, just to reference and to know what to look up. Because it is complicated, and there's always an exception there. You get this pattern, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, these are all exceptions to that pattern. And it's like, okay, there's more exceptions than actually fit the pattern. So if you can find, I don't know, I use this one from school. It's a handbook of grammar and composition. It's like, I think, out of print. It's very old. And they have like sentence diagramming. You don't have to worry about that though. It's ugly. Oh, not my favorite. But if you can find a good grammar handbook, it'll talk about the different parts of speech, like your verbs, the different verbs. And we kind of talked about those a little bit last year in meeting about the adverbs, verbs, nouns, and then the types of verbs, because it's never just a single. So best thing I can do is, if you can get a hold of a grammar handbook, or even look at they have ESL websites for students of for students of English as a second language. They have websites, especially a lot of British websites. apparently are very big on teaching English as a second language, and they have a lot of websites. I used some last year's with worksheets that you could practice. So I start with the basic patterns first and understand it. Yes, always start with the easy stuff. Betty as our books. Ooh, I have never read her, but should be interesting. All right, any other question? Any other answers? Let's see. You can always. So I bought books from my childhood. If you guys know the Berenstain Bears, I love them. Surprisingly, lots of words though. So they are my favorite. I had to clean my desk here, so they're all up here. All right. So I'll see. So we're all very quiet.
If there are any questions again, guys, you can just ask.
Let's see.
If there's none again, we can move to the next sections. Okay, I think it's no more questions now. Let's move to the next questions. That was amazing presentations. Thank you, Mrs. Danielle.
Oh.
From Mrs. Danielle presentations, we can know how to optimizing our English by practice. There are several learning modalities such as visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. And last but not least, we need to set our SMART goals and always practice. Like Mrs. Danielle said in the presentations that you must crawl before you can run. We need to learn before we can fluent in English. A little bit story that I started learning English when I was in elementary school, and until now, I realized that I still much have to learn. So I think E-ProClub helped me so much, like writing an essay and public speaking. So if you guys want to improve your English skills, you can just join our club, E-ProClub, and then you can contact Ifto for the more informations. Thank you for the discussions. That was a really good discussion with you guys, and it really interesting discussions with all of you here. Now it's time for us to play Kahoot. Do you know what Kahoot is? There will be a prize here. This game section will be led by Efto, so go ahead, Efto.
Okay, it's time to play games. Yeah, I want to invite all of you guys to join in Kahoot Game. Do you know what Kahoot is? If you don't know yet, Kahoot is like a website that provides a game that's similar like quiz. But I believe all of you here has already played this game before. In this game, you have to answer 10 points correctly. These points are about English proverbs. In Indonesia, we call it peribahasa. Mrs. Danielle also started her presentation. Sorry, Monica, can you? Okay, thank you, Monica. In this game, you have to answer 10 points correctly. And
Efto, excuse me, can you speak louder? Because it is not clear.
hello?
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. You have to answer 10 points correctly. These points are about English proverbs. Yeah, in Indonesia, we call it peribahasa. And Mrs. Danielle also started her presentation with Proverbs. You must crawl before you can run. So it must be familiar with you. You may read the Proverbs carefully and try to guess the meaning of those. The first winner of this game will get 50,000 rupiah. Well, you can have a lunch in McDonald's with that. And for the second and third winner, you will get 25,000 rupiah for each winner. I will give you 3 minutes to join in this game, but before that, I want to share my screen first. Kahoot. Oh, okay, we are going to classic mode. Loading game pin. Just wait a moment. Okay, you can type Kahoot.t on Google and you can enter the game pin H204295. I give you 3 minutes to join in this game. Remember, you just have to guess the meaning of those proverbs. Yeah, guess the meaning of those peribahasa. Let's go, guys. Come on. L-E-K-H-I. Who's again? Ellie has already. William. 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes. Don't miss this change. Dojeng, Red, Abraham Sid, Sals, H18, Ranti, Grace, Pipit Eka. There are more than 90 students here. Safira Audrey, Ruaki, Priscilia Bani, Dewi Ranasari. Come on. 2 minutes remaining. Queen, Ria. Nabila. Come on. 50,000 rupiah are waiting for you. Bulan. The audience from YouTube also can join this game. Rizka Ware, Ervina Krisma. Come on. We have 1 minute remaining before I start this game. Come on, join and compete yourself for 50,000 rupiah. It's also fun game. Aulia, Pipit, Umi F. I will start this game in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I will start this game. Remember, guys, you just have to guess the meaning of those proverbs. Okay, I will start in 1, 2, 3. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready? Are you nervous? Okay, 1, 2, 3. First question. Read the proverbs carefully and guess the right answer. A fool and his money are soon parted. What is the meaning of this proverb? Still 0 answers. This is not too hard, guys. Come on. Okay. Yeah. The right answer is blue. Foolish people do not know how to save their money. Okay, 15 students answered correctly. Next. Oh, Sals 18 are the leader of scoreboard. Okay, we're going to the next proverbs, the second proverbs. Don't judge a book by its cover. Oh, this is really easy. Very, very easy. The easiest one so far. Jangan menilai buku dari sampulnya. Don't judge a book by its cover. 35 answer, 37. Okay. 29 students answer correctly. Never judge people by their race and skin color. Well, that's the meaning. Agnes on the top, Sals 18 on the second, and Cecilia on the third. Okay, we're going to the next. The third proverbs. An empty vessel makes much noise. This proverb is also familiar with Indonesian. Tong kosong nyaring bunyinya. 29, 31, 32, 33. Okay. Yes, stupid people are the most talkative, but doesn't mean the talkative people are stupid, right? Okay, next Proverbs. Psalms 18 on the top, Cecilia on the second, and Bunny on the third. Oh, Bunny. That's a great progress. Okay, next. Early birds catch the worm. Which one is the correct answer? This is easy though. You don't have to think to answer this question. Okay. The one who starts early has a better chance of success. That's the meaning. We can see Cecilia on the top. Oh, Cecilia, Psalms 18, and Bunny. Okay, we're going to the next. This is true or false question. The proverb, it is never too late to mend, has a meaning. It is never too late to change your bad habit. True or false? True or false? E or F? E or F? Blue or red? Blue or red? This is very, very easy. Okay. 37 students answer correctly. What's wrong with these three people? This is very, very easy. Cecilia still on the top, Psalms 18 still on the second, and Priscilla the third. Okay, the next, the 6 Proverbs. No pain, no gain. What is the meaning of no pain, no gain? Answers. Oh, so only 17 students answered correctly. It is necessary to work hard and harder to reach success. Remember, no pain, no gain. You absolutely cannot reach success without hard work. Cecilia on the top, Bunny, and Priscilla. Okay, next, the 7 Proverbs. There are many ways to Rome. What is the meaning of this proverb? Wow, 30 students answered correctly. There are many ways to reach success. Yeah, that is the meaning of there are many ways to Rome. Okay, next. Cecilia, still on the top, Bunny on the second, and Priscilla on the third. We're going to the next. Each of 10. Always put your best foot forward. What is the meaning of this proverb? Green, blue, or yellow? Okay, 39 answers. Do your best in any assignments or activities. Yes, that is the correct answer. The green one. Oh, Cecilia still on the top, Priscilla on the second, and Sals on the third. Wow, Bunny and Sals are competing each other. Better late than ever. What is the meaning of this? Better late than ever. It is better to get something you desire late than get it never. Yeah, that is the meaning of better late than ever. Okay. Cecilia on the top, Priscilla on the second, and Sals on the third. Okay, next we're going to the last Proverbs that you have to guess the meaning. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Come on, come on, come on. Yep, the red one is correct. If you eat healthy, you will live healthy. Okay, it's done. It's already 10 proverbs that you already answer. And we will see who's the first, second, and third winner of this game. Here we go. Oh, Cecilia in the first, Priscilla in the second, and Sals on the third. Okay, congratulations for all the winners. Don't forget to contact me via WhatsApp to claiming your prize, and I will drop my phone number in the chat box. Okay, congratulations, everyone. We're going to the next session, led by Lisa.
Okay, thank you, Efto, for leading the game sections. Congratulations for the winner of this quiz. You are guys so great. And for those of you that aren't lucky yet, you can try again in next time in our upcoming event. For the winners after this webinar, you can contact Efto to claiming the prize. There is another person who really important for the performance of this club. Can you guys guess who is she? Yes, Mrs. Henny, our pretty advisor. It's time for us to listening Mrs. Henny closing speech for a while. Okay, the stage is yours, Miss Henny.
Okay, thank you very much, Lisa, for your Okay, thank you very much for your time. Okay, I would like to say something here. Our guest speaker, Miss Danielle Bernecker, and then also the chairman of Esa Unggul E-ProClub, members of E-ProClub, students and participants. Good afternoon, because it's already 11, almost 11:30. Okay, on behalf of the Center of Language and Culture of Esa Unggul University, I would like to express my gratitude to those who made this event a reality. Okay, and then first of all, to our guest speaker, Miss Danielle Bernecker, thank you very much for giving us part of your time to inspire us, especially the students, with your wonderful message on the importance of practice for English proficiency. I do believe that after listening to your presentation, students will be more and more motivated to learn English. Okay, and then also to the chairman of Esa Unggul E-ProClub, Efto. Thank you so much for your time, your effort, your dedication in making this webinar possible. Thank you very much. Also, thank you for Lisa, okay, the moderator of this webinar, for guiding this webinar. And also to Delta for leading the praying so that today's event can run smoothly. Okay, and then lastly, thank you to our Almighty God who always shower us with blessing, as we can see all in this event. Okay, and then I would also say that it is my sincere duty to thank you all, especially the participant of you here today. And I hope that you enjoy the webinar today and learn a thing or two from Miss Danielle's presentation regarding practice, practice, and practice. So don't forget that. Practice, practice, and practice. Okay, and then before we formally close this webinar, I would like to leave you with the saying, and I'm sure that you are familiar with this. This is from Confucius, which is said in about 451 BC. Okay, he said that what I hear, I forget. Okay, and then what I see, I may remember, but what I do, I understand. So what does it mean? It means that keep practicing, as already said by Miss Danielle just now, that if you want to be proficient in English, then of course you have to practice. You have to do it. Yeah, even though either it is in listening, in speaking, in writing, in reading, or in grammar. So practice. Okay. Then how can you do that? How can you practice? Okay. Of course, again, by joining the E-ProClub. Okay. Remember that. Joining the E-ProClub. Joining every competition that will be held every year by E-ProClub. There is no other way. If you want to optimize your English proficiency, then no other way, join the E-ProClub. I can guarantee that you will be proficient in English. Okay, that's all. Thank you and good day.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Henning, for this closing speech. Don't forget to fill up the attendance link that given in the room chats. Oh, don't forget to give it up, Lisa. Okay, I'm waiting you guys in the club. Before we close this meeting, I want to invite you guys to open your camera because now we are going to take pictures for documentations. So please, for all the participants to open the camera.
Yeah, come on, guys. Open your camera.
The
Turn on your camera.
documentations will be taken by it. So we have 4 slides here.
Yeah, okay.
We want to see your beautiful, pretty faces.
Yep, that's right. Come on, come on, come on. Open your camera. There are 4 slides. Okay. Okay, is it enough? Okay, I will take a picture from the first slide first. And then the second, the third, and the fourth. Okay, here we go. I will count 1, 2, 3. Okay, the second slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the third slide. 1, 2, 3. Once again, the fourth slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Danielle.
Okay, thank you for joining our webinar. Thank you very much for your attendance. We really appreciate it. This is just a reminder. Don't forget to join our weekly meeting. Start on Friday, 25th March at 8 p.m. Western Indonesian time. In that meeting, we can discuss and learn together about the many things. And also, Mrs. Danielle will be there with us. So don't forget to join our club. If you have any problems to claiming the certificate, please contact the contact person on this webinar flyer. Another brief reminder, don't forget to fill up the attendance links. Once again, my name is Lisa. See you again next time. Have a nice day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Efto. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Miss Danielle. Thank you, guys. Thank you, all the participants. Do not forget to join the E-ProClub, okay?
Yes.
And then don't forget to claim the e-certificate. If you have problems, then you can contact Efto or you can contact me for the e-certificate. Yeah. Do not forget, join the E-ProClub next week. Next week, yeah, Efto.
Yes, next week.
Yes, next week we start. Okay, Danielle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was very, very interesting.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, good morning. Good night.
Good night.
Good night for
All
you.
Yes.
11:30 here.
Yeah. 12:30. Midnight. Yeah, it's 12:30 now, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Nice rest.
Thank you.
Danielle.
Bye.
Bye, Miss. Bye, Efto.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you very much.
everyone.
Okay, we are waiting for another to leave this.
Thank you, ya, Efto, ya.
Sama-sama, Miss.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.